Hello, this is Angela Anderson, and I am in my studio tonight. We're going to be painting a barn scene. It's the winter. I'm going to make it super simple. I know this picture looks a little bit complicated. I didn't have time to do an example for you ahead of time, but we're going to use this as our inspiration photo and kind of add a few things to it, maybe a pine tree on this side, and really simplify it so it should be a good beginner project. I've got my husband Mark with me here tonight.
Hey everybody.
We are live, so he is manning our chat, and if you've got any questions for me during the show, you can put those in all caps and he will try to get those to me while we are painting. This is Tuesday night, so we are #FeedMark. We're going to try to get this done in an hour if possible, and so let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting out with an 11 by 14 inch canvas. I went with a little bit smaller size for tonight, just for time reasons. Thought it'd be easier to do a smaller canvas, but you could do this really on any size landscape type canvas. And I kept my paints in a baggie to keep them moist while I was waiting. I'm going to spritz them down one time here and go through them real quick with you. You've got titanium white, unbleached titanium, which is a mixture of white and yellow oxide that's pre-mixed, burnt sienna, Pyrrole crimson. If you don't have this color, don't worry about it. It's just a little bit darker red. So if you have like cadmium red deep, that would work, or just cadmium red medium, even with like maybe some quinacridone magenta to brighten it up, and maybe a little bit of purple or something like that. So I just like this color because it was the closest to the barn picture that I had. So this is Hansa yellow medium. You could also use cadmium yellow medium, sap green, phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine, light ultramarine blue, which is just ultramarine blue here, plus white. It's pre-mixed, burnt umber, and carbon black. Any black will do. So, and I'm not sure if we're going to use all these colors since I did not prep this ahead of time. So we are flying by the seat of our pants tonight. Should be interesting. I've got just a few brushes. I just went ahead and grabbed a few that I thought I might need. I definitely will be using a Deerfoot stippler for part of it. So if you don't have one of those, you could use like a scruffy old brush, maybe an angle brush, a couple of small rounds, a fan brush possibly. We'll see. I might use that on the pine tree, I think. Try it Bob Ross style. We'll see. I don't paint with the fan brush a whole lot, so we'll see if we can pull it off. And then just a couple of flat brushes in different sizes. We'll start out with the biggest one for our background. And let's get going here on it. I'm going to be moving kind of quick tonight, so hopefully I won't be too fast, but I do want to kind of do it sort of paint party style. Like that's kind of the idea behind this. I thought we'll just do it kind of like how they would at a paint party, where you kind of just paint straight on and you don't have a lot of layers like I normally do. We'll just kind of try to get it down the first time. So I'm going to start out in the sky with a little bit of phthalo blue and white. You need very, very little phthalo to make that sky nice and bright, and we'll do that up at the top, and we'll get a little bit darker as we get down to the horizon line so that our white bushes have something to play against. So how are we doing on chat tonight, honey?
Oh, we're doing good. There's a whole bunch of people coming in.
Awesome.
So they're just all saying hi to each other and reminding each other to like and subscribe.
Yes, please do. And if you are first time to my channel, welcome. We do live shows every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. I'm adding just a tiny bit of burnt sienna here. Tuesday nights at 6 and Saturdays at 2. And I'm going to clip my hair back here.
And that is Central Time.
Central Time,
United
yes. Thank you for saying that, yes. Central Time in the U.S.
So if you tune in at 2 o'clock in Australia, you might miss us.
Right. We're sorry for the confusion.
We'll probably be asleep. I'm not exactly sure what time that is. But.
Most likely. Okay, I need to put in some clouds here. You're a mess. I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue, and I'm going to touch just a tiny bit of the crimson in there and make it a little bit purplish. You could also use purple if you wanted to. And I'm mixing it right over the top of that other color that I've used, so I'm not worried about the blues mixed together or any of that will. Oh, that's a pretty lavender color. Do you see that? It's kind of a really soft lavender. So we'll start using that up in our clouds here too. And I'm just going to kind of work in small sections and blend as I go, but leave a little bit of variation in my sky here. So it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth for this one. We're kind of doing that winter sky thing. Okay, let's get a little bit more of this phthalo blue, a little bit of white. And we're going to put that right up underneath there, kind of dark. So that's a cloud with the purple. And we'll go back over it with a little bit of white. Right now I'm just kind of tapping along where those two colors are meeting, just so that I have a little bit of randomness to it. Get a little bit more of the ultramarine blue and do the little bit darker up here. I started out kind of light. I think I want to add a little bit of that. Now, if your paint has started to dry up here, go ahead and just let it dry completely before you try to blend another color in with it, because they could lift. Acrylics don't like to be messed with when they're drying, so okay, that's looking interesting. We'll just keep on working our way down here. Phthalo blue, white, a little bit more white here. When we get to about halfway, that's when our bushes are going to happen, so, or our trees and things. That's kind of our midline, is our horizon line in this painting.
So we got a question. Somebody's
Yes.
asking, how do you get it to blend so easily?
I'm putting down, I think one of the things that people don't do is well, I think it has to do with the amount of paint that you put down in the short version. I don't have a ton of paint on my brush, but I don't have as little as I would if I were like dry brushing. So I'm working quickly, and I'm putting on just enough paint, lay it down really fast, and then don't worry about what it looks like yet. Once you lay it down and get all of the paint off your brush. So here I've got this purple color. I'm just going to kind of lay it down until it's kind of gone. And then I can, if I have too much still on there, I can wipe it off and then go back in. And while it's still wet and while the under layer is still wet too, then I can go back in and tap over it and blend a little bit. So I think that that's one of the things is people might, or beginner painters, they get a little bit caught up in what it looks like when they first lay it down, and so they spend a lot of time on that, and then it's dried by the time they get to this blending section. Their paint has already dried and they can't blend it because it's already getting sticky and stuff. So I think that that's part of the issue, is lay it down quickly. Don't worry about what it looks like when you first lay it down, and then do your blending while it's still wet. Be sure to catch it and blend with very little paint on your brush. So when you do the blending stage, you have very little paint on your brush, and you are using very, very light pressure to get that paint to move around on your canvas. So hopefully that makes sense. So I've got it like that little bit of a purple right here. And then if you see on my picture here, we've got little pockets of white clouds peeking in and around. So right now I'm just kind of worried about getting this dark background in, and then we'll put a few of these brighter clouds in once this starts to dry. So let's go ahead and put our foreground in, and the foreground is going to be very, very light blues. And we'll do more of purpley blues in the background, and then get them a little bit warmer. As we come closer to us, we'll add a tiny bit of yellow into it. So I'm going to grab the ultramarine blue. Actually, I'm going to grab the light ultramarine because that's going to be a good color for that background there. Add a little bit of white to it. And, well, I'll go ahead and use what's on my brush here, but I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush here in a minute. So I'm going to lay down some blues first, and then we'll put our whites on top. We just need a little bit of contrast. I don't know what that is. Looks like a bug. Did that answer the question for her?
I think so. And somebody also asked if you can add water to extend the paint while blending.
No, I would not, because what water will do is thin the paint, and when you're blending them, especially with the heavy body acrylics, if you want to, you could add water before you start blending and make sure that both of the paints are about equally wet. But really, water doesn't help you much when you're blending it. It actually kind of can inhibit the proper blend, because it'll thin your paints down too much. They need to be kind of thick for the blending to work. So, okay, I'm going to get a little bit lighter shade here. Well, maybe not. There we go. And I'm just going to figure out where I want my horizon line to be, and just kind of try to do a straight line across. I'll be putting in some trees along this, so it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, and there might be some snow drifts and things, so I'm not going to worry as much on this as I might. And actually my horizon line is up here by this darker blue. What you looking for, hun?
Oh, somebody asked a question if light ultramarine is just ultramarine with white added to it.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, and it's just a premix.
I have it here.
Color. Yep, you got it.
I was trying to read the label.
Oh.
But, yeah, so ultramarine blue, that's hard to say, in titanium white.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't give any proportions, but there you go.
It's probably very little of the ultramarine to the white.
Okay.
Okay, I've got the lighter, this is the phthalo blue and white mixture, and this is still wet here, so I'm just going to kind of gently run my brush. It's almost flat, and just let it catch on that ultramarine blue a little bit. Most of this section here is going to be covered up, so I'll just keep on working towards the bottom here. A little bit more of the white. I'll start adding in, I think, some of my what color is this? Unbleached titanium. Thank you. Up in here to give it a little bit more of a warmer tone as we get closer to the bottom here. And we'll add other white in there, but this will be one of the colors that we use. And if you notice, I'm doing horizontal motion here on my landscape. There's going to be a snowbank that kind of comes in over here like this. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of blue back here. And then we'll have a little bit of darkness behind. I think I want to make a gray with my burnt sienna and phthalo blue. That's a pretty color. Maybe a little bit more burnt sienna. My paints are getting a little bit dry, so I'm going to spritz them. And I think I'm going to put this in on my horizon line here a little bit. So just mark that horizon line. If you want to, you could use tape. Okay, there we go. Want it to get too blue-green. I'm going to use that color sparingly. Clean that out. This may be a little bit more haphazard than some of my other things because I'm just trying to figure out the proportions and the colors while I'm working here. This is, I think this had some of this color, both of these whites and a little bit of the phthalo blue mixture. There we go. That's nice. It's kind of gray. Put a little bit of that in there and see what that looks like. That's that light phthalo blue mixture. I'll put a little bit of over here because this is going to be kind of a shadow area. Okay. Almost looks like water. Okay, we could make this an ocean right now. If we just put some more of this white here, doesn't it?
And so now it's a beach scene.
Now it's a beach scene, and we're going to make it into winter. It's going to be magic.
We'll put a barn right in the middle of the water.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Just keep adding paint. We're hoping for the best for this one. We'll just keep on going here and hope it all works out. There's nothing like painting live without having done the actual example. I had things going on today. I just didn't have time to do it. I almost told my dermatologist you said I could kiss him, though, so. Almost, but I thought it might make it weird, so.
Yeah.
My dermatologist has helped me with my rosacea issues, so he's my hero right now. I kind of love him a little bit. I told Mark I might just kiss him. Chickened out.
At least not on the second date.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And hopefully he's not watching tonight.
Well, exactly. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? I don't think so. Although his receptionist is the lady that took classes from me back in the 1990s. She was in my first art classes. Isn't that cool? And she was like, "Hey, did you teach art lessons?" I was like, "Yeah, I still do." I gave her one of my cards. It's so funny. Okay. So I think that's good. My sky is dry, so I'm going to let this go and work up here. Just kind of go back and forth. I'm going to grab my Deerfoot stippler here and grab some white with it. Just a little bit, mostly on the tip along here. And I'm just going to start working in these cloud shapes. They're pretty random, so the middle part is the brightest part on these ones. I think the sunlight is kind of low probably. So we'll just kind of start tapping in and see what happens here. I should have.
You're hitting your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry for the mic hit there, everybody.
You yelled at me pretty loud there.
Well, it was.
There's going to be a, you're hitting your mic. I got to remember, we really need to get me one of the kind that is on my
Oh, get you like a singer's
face.
mic?
Yeah, yeah. I need
Okay, so
I
you
need
can do a
singer's mic.
singing video or painting videos? No.
Well, no, I'm
No?
not. Mona does those. Mona,
Yeah, she does.
She does singing videos.
She sings very well, too.
She does, I know. Okay, so yeah, Mona's got a YouTube channel too, so you have to check that out. She does all kinds of stuff. All right, I am using very light pressure here and just kind of letting my brush scrub in little tiny wispy clouds thingamabobs here. If I press down harder, I'll get brighter color, and I'll probably go back in and put some more brighter color in a few of these areas. Let me put this on this side so I'm not crossing over my palette. But I kind of like this thing going on here. So even though it's supposed to be this big blob, I think I'm going to leave it. I like it. So I think I'll just do a little brightness around it, like it's sort of sunlight peeking through. The thing with clouds is not to overdo it. So if you notice, I'm leaving a lot of white, or a lot of background color showing through. I did, you know, fairly dark bluish, you know, they're not super dark, but fairly dark undertones. And now with the white going on top, I am letting some little pockets of that color show through in places. I think what people do with clouds, or you know, when you're trying it for the first time, is you think, okay, cloud is this big, you know, round shape, and they do this big, well, you can't see it on white paper, sorry. They do this big, you know, round shape that's solid all the way around on top and bottom. And usually clouds, you know, depending on the time of day and the kind of cloud, usually they're a little bit more wispy on the bottom than they are on the top. They'll be a little bit more solid and fluffy at the top, and then at the bottom you can just kind of barely scrub out a little bit and make them sort of disappear into your canvas. Let the brush do a lot of the work for you. If you press down a little bit firmer or tilt my brush up, I'll get a little bit more paint coming off. And if I lay it back on the back side, I can scrub with this end because I don't have as much paint back there. So these deerfoots are really great. I use them for clouds and bushes, trees, and hoping I'll be able to offer these ones from the brush guys. I think that they said that they had some deerfoots, so I'll have to see what brand they have. But when I get my recommendations going, I'll be able to offer the ones that I'm using, hopefully, which will be nice, because they can be kind of hard to find, at least good ones. These ones are a little bit stiffer than the kind that I like the stiffer deerfoot stipplers, and low Cornell here makes the best ones in my opinion. Okay, so down in here there's some lower clouds down here. I'm leaving a lot of this darkness happening. There's a few like bright spots. I'm turning my brush over now so the tip's pointing down at the canvas. And I'm going to grab some of my warmer white, because these are almost yellow, and do some little bit of taps in with that color. I think that's good. Let's get some really low down here. Actually, I need to remember that there's trees there, so I need to bring it up higher. Like,
It's rubbing against the thing there. That's okay.
okay. There's like highlights there. And yeah, I need to bring this up higher so that my trees don't cover all my clouds that I'm doing here. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. I think I don't want to get too caught up in all of it and make it too complicated. Let's grab a, well, let's just go ahead and use that brush for the foliage back there too. I'm going to clean that out really well and get all the moisture out of it that I can. Okay, and I'm going to make a brownish blue. I'm going to use this Ultramarine Blue and, or I'm sorry, Burnt Umber and maybe a little bit of the Ultramarine and see what that does. Maybe put in a little bit of this crimson to make it more purpley. There we go. So crimson, ultramarine, and just a tiny bit of burnt umber to desaturate it, because the colors in the background will be a little bit less bright. Okay, that's really dark, but I think it'll be a good color for us. So I'm going to go right up along this horizon line and just do some random bushes. Now this is kind of our first layer. We'll do white over the top of this, so don't worry too much if it looks kind of odd, and don't get it too solid. You want to let it have some breathing room so that it looks like bushes and not a solid color. It's really trees, I guess. And I'm kind of just varying the heights of these so that they're not all the same. Really in my picture they're almost kind of straight across, so I'll do a few that are sort of more straight across than others. And our barn is going to go right in here, so I'm going to put some that are up a little bit higher so I get some contrast back behind it. Okay, that looks good. Yeah. All right, let's grab some white. I haven't cleaned out my brush, so it'll kind of mix a little bit with this color. Wow, we're at 6:30 already. Jeez. Okay.
So we had a question. Somebody, everybody's saying that you're making this look so easy. So what do you find as a challenge to paint?
Oh, what do I find as a challenge? I find that portraits are really my kind of nemesis. I don't really like doing them. I like a little bit more of a freedom with it, and I don't like to draw a whole lot. Like I do it, but I don't sit down and draw a finished piece a lot of times. So, and when you do portraiture and things like that, you kind of have to, in order to get it just right, so that's kind of probably my least favorite thing to paint. Something that I find kind of challenging. Okay, so I've got all that white in there. If I feel like I need to, I might take some of this Phthalo Blue. Just add a little bit of blue to a few of these, just where they may be disappearing. Some of it doesn't look like it's kind of showing up very well. And this bottom edge is going to be uneven, but that's okay. We'll fix it here. So I feel like it's not dark enough. Let's get a little bit more of this dark burnt umber and add a little bit of that. Just don't want it to look like brown muddy trees out back there. Okay, I think that's good. We'll add a little bit of white to these trees right here. Actually, in my picture, they're not. They're just kind of, actually, I think I'm just going to do it like my picture. Grab a liner brush here. Grab some of this ultramarine or burnt umber color. Just put in with my liner brush, put in a few little random tree branches. Very small. And if you want to, you can leave this part out if your liner brush is is not your friend. You can just do it with the stippler.
Will you be posting the original photo, or have you already?
Yes, it's actually I did post it in my Thankful Art group with the advertisement for the class, but it's actually on it's a photo I got off of Pixabay. So yeah, I'll put that in there for sure. Let's put a few little random tree trunks down low with this color. And it's kind of mixing with these blues here, so I'm just going to put a few with this liner brush, a few shadows and tree trunks, just random little. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. It's very you can look at the original picture. This is what I'm doing. I'm just putting in these little random, this is my tree, so ignore that. Actually, the tree's probably going to cover most of this anyways, but there's all these little dark spots at the low on the horizon, so that's what I'm putting in here. I'm just going to put in little random dots and sort of try to keep them horizontal-ish. That'll help with that illusion of depth. As things get farther away, they kind of take on that horizontal quality. Okay, let's grab some ultramarine blue and white. We'll get our light ultramarine, I guess, since we've already got it mixed up there. And I'm just going to add that in underneath, maybe a little bit more of the brighter white, and just add some highlights here and there. Most of this is in shadow though, because I think the sunlight's probably coming from behind it, so I might add a few little dots of bright white to the middle of these trees. This liner brush gives me a little bit more control over it, where it's going, than the stippler does. Just a few dots of really bright white. Okay. I think that's good. Let's put a few in this tree over here. These trees have a little bit of white clinging to them. Maybe a little snow up here. Not as much. And you could do this with the stippler if you want to. I'm just kind of trying to make him, use my finger to kind of wipe it off if I get too much in there. Okay. I'm just barely kind of angling my brush here and letting it sort of drag and create some shapes here. And I'm going to use this dark brown, and there's these random spots. If you get them too dark, you can kind of go back in with a little bit of this, but you can see here in the picture there's all these kind of horizontal dark lines here, so I'm going to add a few of those in. How are we doing, hun?
Oh, we're doing good.
Don't want it to look like it's dirty, so I'm gonna get some white here and kind of blend them in just a little bit. And the farther away you get, the thinner your lines are going to be, and then as we get closer to the foreground, we can do thicker lines. Okay, let me zoom out now. I think we're looking pretty good. Very icy. Not looking like water anymore, hopefully.
I'm kind of concerned because I see yellow paint on your palette over there, and I don't.
You know what they say about yellow snow?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we want yellow snow.
You never know. Okay, I picked up some of this. This was the color, the Phthalo Blue burnt sienna mixture that I had made before, and now it's got white and a little bit of burnt umber in it too, and other colors. And I'm just going to put some of this in a couple of places here, and then I might pick up just a little bit of the Pyrrole crimson. Add that to it, and do a little bit of, and I'm using my angle brush now. I can hold it out on its edge and get thinner lines, or I can hold it flat and get thicker lines. I'm just going to add a little bit of this pink kind of right down in the middle here to warm up this area that's a little bit closer to us.
We've had the Bears join us.
Hey, Nathan.
Carolyn was in here earlier. I missed a shout out. Hopefully she's still watching too.
Carolyn, Nathan, the family's joining us. I'm looking forward to getting to see Nathan behave, hopefully for Thanksgiving next week. Coming down. This is a little bit of ultramarine blue mixed in. Do some darker blue shadows. Just all right, that's looking pretty good. Let's put a little bit of this in this corner here, because our up close snow is going to have some shadows too. Okay. Grab some white and blend that in a little bit. All right, it's looking pretty good. Let's put it in our barn. I'm going to, I guess I'll use chalk here. So my barn is in my picture here. I don't know, maybe it's a shack. It's something, probably not a barn, but it's close enough. So we'll put the roof line right about here so that we've got our trees in the background showing up. It is just off center. So, but I'm going to even push it a little bit farther over because I want this tree on this side. So I'm pushing it even a little bit more this way. And I'm not going to do all of this stuff off to the side of it. I'm just going to put in these two trees here, tall, and I'm not going to put all this other stuff in. I just feel like it's kind of cluttered. So we'll do the roof line here. So it's kind of and if you want to get fancy about it, you could measure with your thing here. My vanishing point was somewhere off here, so I can do my roof line. I don't know, it's not showing up very well. Well, roof line there, and it'll be there, and then the bottom will be like here, and then these will be vertical. There, and here. This will come down like that, and this kind of almost straight there. Feels like it's a little bit far away. I think it'll be all right. I might bring it, there's a little bit of, we'll just bring it down a little bit farther. And we're just going to put snow in front of it. We're not going to mess with all of this stuff. Just makes it easier to declutter. think that'll be good. And we'll put our 2 trees kind of coming up like this. Maybe one of them going off there. And then our pine tree will be right in here. Right along this edge, kind of going off the edge. So I don't know if you can see any of that, but I can. So I'll help show you when I paint it.
Yes, you can see it.
I can't see it. Just
well,
enough.
I can see it also.
You can see it? Good.
Not just looking at it, but also on the internet too.
Right. Okay, good. Good. All right, so I'm going to do the roof line real quick. This is kind of white, but it's got a little bit of other stuff mixed in here, so it's not pure white. This will be our first coat. We'll go ahead and put a highlight on it after this dries. So we're just going to fill in the roof line. I kind of hate that I covered all of that cool stuff that I drew on there, actually.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I did.
Oh.
I'm going to move it.
It was too pretty to cover up, huh?
Yeah, I wanted those trees back there, so I'm just going to move it over a little bit and down lower right here. And hope that I can get it in there right properly now that I've erased all of what I just did. It's actually pretty high up there. We go. Right there. Okay, we'll do the yeah, this is going to be interesting because now I don't have my reference points for my thing here, but it was like out here, so I'll just use that and do like that. How's that? For cheating. Bring it down a little bit lower. This is my Pyrrole Crimson, or Pyrrole, I'm not sure how you say it. Somebody told me last time I did this color and I still don't remember what it was. I'm adding burnt umber to it to make it darker on this backside here.
I'm going to say Pyrrole.
Pyrrole, that's what I thought, because it's got the Y.
I like pie.
It kind of, I guess you like pie.
Yeah, that's the only reason
It kind of
why.
could be like Pyrrole, like, because that's how it's pronounced, like spelled, you know. It's got 2 R's, like Pyrrole. I don't know. That's when I'm being silly. So the nice thing about snow, doing this snow thing, is that we can kind of just fudge our edges here. It doesn't have to be really perfect because we're just going to put like snow banks up along that edge of our barn, and so the perspective really doesn't have to be exact with it since we're not seeing the bottom of the barn. We'll just as long as we get this line pretty straight and these lines on the sides straight up and down. But I'm kind of streaking it since it's supposed to be weathered wood. Already looks varnish, right? Good enough for us. And there is some, I guess I'll go ahead and put this in. There is some like brown, I don't know, like stone work underneath. So I'm just going to use the tip of my brush and sort of tap that in. And try to follow that, the lines that I already drew there. Okay. This is not right yet, so don't panic. It'll come together. It looks really weird right now, but I'm going to add a little bit of this white up in here because I took away some of those trees. I'm just using my tip of my angle brush. Angle brush is one of my favorite brushes to paint with because it can do just about anything. You can almost do a whole painting with it. It can do lines, it can do little foliage, you can fill in. It's pretty versatile. It's one of the must-have brushes for sure. I get asked a lot which brushes are like necessary, and this would be one of the top of the list, is the angle brush. Just a really like medium-sized angle brush. Okay, I'm gonna grab my light ultramarine blue, and we'll just put our little shadow right up underneath the cabin there. And just kind of scrubbing it side to side and letting things happen around it. And we'll put some snow up high around it too. Maybe have the snow coming in like that. Sort of in drifts diagonally there. All right. All right, let's put in our birch trees. So those are going to be like right here. And I feel like we need some bushes right here. So let's grab some yellow oxide and add that to the white and burnt umber color. There's some random grasses and things happening right here. And some stones, it looks like. We'll do some burnt umber. I don't know, that looks really bad, doesn't it? It looks like poop. It's the poop pile. All right, we'll try to make it better. Let's see what we can do here. Hey, paintings have an ugly stage, that's all I'm saying. And a lot of times you'll get to this point and you'll go, wow, that I just ruined my painting.
The problem is that my paintings never leave that stage.
They stay in the ugly stage?
They get to the ugly
forever.
stage and they kind of just hang there. That's why I monitor the chat.
Oh, goodness. Let's try putting in our pine tree while that settles and we decide what to do with that. I'm going to grab some Sap Green. And I've got my fan brush, so we'll see what happens with this. And I think I want to add a little bit of Ultramarine Blue to it just to kind of make it go a little bit with our color scheme, a little bit more blue-ish. All right, wish me luck. We're gonna tap at the top. We'll kind of imagine a straight line here, right? All the way down. And as we get, I'll keep a little bit higher. Let's do this, and as we get around the sides here, we're gonna turn our brush so that like the first ones are kind of going upward, and then as we come around the side, don't tap too much so that you don't get like a solid color. Think of an A, so we're going to kind of shoot for a triangle A type shape. It'll be flat-ish at the bottom. So we've got the snowdrift, so we can kind of use that as our base, right? It's looking all right so far. So far, so good. And we'll just do, oops, The harder you press down, the thicker your thing's going to be. That's looking all right. We can do a fan brush. Look at us painting like Bob Ross.
Actually, somebody has made that statement earlier in the chat, wondering if you could do Bob Ross style painting with acrylics, and here you go.
This it is. This is it right here.
Hopefully they're still hanging around.
This is very similar, actually, to Bob Ross style painting for sure.
Man, I wish I had a style of paint named after me.
That's true. What would my style be? Well, I guess it would be Angela Anderson style, but you know, if you had a, you know, if you named it, he's got his own kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have a style yet. Probably not. Gosh, Bob was so awesome. I used to watch him every Saturday. All right, that looks really good. I'm surprised. All right, well, the fan brush isn't too bad. All right, I think it's all right. It did okay for me. So this is the first time I've done a whole pine tree with it. I usually use a brush, so it's not bad.
Well, you're using a brush right now.
Well, I mean, I usually use a regular brush, not a fan brush.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you notice I left a lot of pockets of white showing. The middle part here is fairly solid, so I want to be sure that it has a trunk. So if it doesn't look like he's got a trunk, we can go in and probably should have done that first. Note to self, put a tree trunk in first. So what I'll do is go in here and just add a little bit of a tree trunk in between wherever I think it should have been, if there's any white spots showing through. And maybe a few branches off to the side. I don't want to get too fussy with that part though, because we don't want it to look like this big thick line down the middle of our tree.
Well, the tree is getting a lot of love in chat.
Oh, good.
I like it.
Good, good, good. All right, so I'm going to clean that out completely. Grab my white. And we'll pretty much do the same thing, only we'll go on the top. So we'll just leave little in just on one side, kind of on the tops of wherever our branches are. In the middle here, we'll kind of have some, make sure you leave space, right? The middle sections are coming straight out at you. So the only part that you're seeing, if you think about, you know, a branch like this, if it's pointing at you, you only see a dot for the part that's pointing at you. So this middle parts will have these just like small, thin dots like that. And that's all you're going to see of that branch that's coming straight at you. So be sure you don't leave that part out and do only the outside edges. Have a few like random short dot type white sections there. And I'm kind of tapping back and forth, so some of them this way, some of them this way, tilting it as I go down. I did that center section first so that I kind of had a guide. Oh, that's looking so good. I'm so happy right now. Yeah. Yay.
I'm sure glad you put snow on that tree, because, man, the people in chat were starting to get their pitchforks.
Oh, really? They're like, well, you got to have the dark part first.
Right,
you got to have the contrast, or the snow would not show up. Of course we have snow on our tree. And I think I'm going to even put a little bit of blue on this side over here. Over here. I'm going to grab that light ultramarine blue. My paint is getting dry, so I'm going to spray it again. Light ultra blue. And just tap just a tiny bit of this in a couple places, just on this one side, since we decided our sun's coming from this direction. Okay, and I'm barely touching down my brush here, so I love it.
We have an interesting question.
So happy right now.
That if you were to put lights on the tree, how would you suggest to go about doing that?
I'm actually going to do one. in a couple weeks.
Okay, so
With a Christmas tree with lights.
Okay.
And at dark at night, so it'll be lit up.
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they want to wait, they can wait for that, but I'm definitely doing that. Probably.
Well, I don't know. This group was begging for snow like immediately, so I don't know if they can wait a few weeks.
That's true. They were. They didn't want any more fall paintings. They were done with fall. Okay, I'm going to put some of this in over here. I feel like it's still kind of, I'm not really happy with these trees back here. Okay, that didn't look good. Let's put a pine tree back there. Now that I'm like the boss with the fan brush here, we'll just put a pine tree back here. A little bit small one, a little baby one. Barely touching. Okay. That's too green back there. I don't like that. Alright, I need to stop fussing with this painting. Get it done. Sorry, honey. We're getting there. We're almost there. We'll just put a few little white areas in there to... Okay, that's not too bad. Just better. Still not 100% happy with that, but okay. Let's do something with this. Let's put a bush there. I'm gonna grab my brush here and we'll get the, let's make a purple. No, let's make a orangey bush. Since we're closer, we can do kind of a brighter and add some of this unbleached titanium to it. I'm going to add a little bit of it back in here too. Ooh, that's bright. Just a little bit. Okay. This kind of, I don't know, grassy stuff here that I'm trying to get in, but I don't know if it's really worth the effort. So it's kind of looking like a lot of nothing. Put some white over it and see what happens. Yeah, I don't like that. So, this is what you do if you don't like it. I'm gonna grab my brush here. I'm gonna wipe off as much as I can. It's not adding to anything to it, in my opinion, so I'm just gonna brush it out. There we go. Done. Don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm going to grab some pink, put the pink in. No more poop bushes. They are done. Okay, maybe a little bit too much pink there, but that's all right. We'll put a little bit more of the white in our brush. What are you laughing at?
No, I think no, I think this is great because everybody's seeing you work through a problem.
Right.
I know that they probably have the same thing when they're
for sure
at home painting by themselves, and you're giving them different options on what to do, what not to do, and
sometimes it's worth the shot, but
yep.
And that's this case. This is such a the deal is it's such a simplified version that was getting too fussy. It was getting too realistic or a little, in order to make it look like what it was going to take a lot more effort than I was willing to put in. So I've got white here now. I'm just gonna kind of do some white drifts. I put these other colors in there underneath, these darker colors, so that this white would show up on top. There we go. Better, and I'm happier with that. It doesn't look like
So it snowed and covered over the poo.
It did. It covered the poo.
Okay, good.
All the poo
That's a
bushes.
good thing about snow.
That's right.
It covers things up like that.
I wouldn't walk in it, though,
No,
right
no,
there.
no.
I wouldn't. I would try not to.
Especially in the spring.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to put this snow up around the cabin there. I feel like he needs a little tree or something around him. He's kind of lonely there.
We just had a question come in asking if you and Cinnamon, oh my gosh, Cinnamon are planning to do a back-to-back holiday shows like you did last year.
You know, that's probably a good idea. We haven't talked about it since we just did the Harry Potter collaboration. We just did one. So we usually wait about 2 months or so between 2 to 3 months between collaborations. So we haven't talked about it. I don't have any plans right now, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm open to it. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, last year you guys painted along with each other, right?
Yeah, last year we had it. That was our first one that we did, that we ever did. We painted a cardinal and I grabbed some ultramarine blue, or burnt umber here with my ultramarine blue, and I'm just gonna do a little tap it along that tree line. Yeah, last year we did that, and it was really fun. And yeah, we continued to do it all year long. We did the Paris one, and we did dragonflies. I even painted my dragonfly live with her. We put black light in it when I went down to...
That's right. Yeah, you were at her studio.
Went to her studio. That I'm going to grab some of my light ultramarine blue and add this color in here.
So
like a shadow on my tree here.
Somebody asked, why did you use pink when you did that cover over?
Because it's just a little bit of warmer color, and the pink will kind of help it look like it's a little closer to us, if that makes sense. So
give it some depth.
Give it a little depth, maybe. I might do a little bit of yellow too on top. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and put a second coat of white. We're at an hour. Shoot. Well, we're almost done. Almost done.
Well, don't forget you got Stickman also to do, so
I
you're
forgot
not
about
really
Stickman.
Almost done.
I forgot about him. Okay,
That's what's keeping everybody watching.
They don't care about the barn.
Exactly. There's one reason why they tune in.
So I'm going to tap in some snow. And go ahead and leave a little bit of that texture happening, maybe, so that it looks like maybe parts of it are in shadow or something. I don't know. It's not solid white. Just give it a little bit more character. And go ahead and put your if it's not showing up against your sky, what I can do is grab a little bit of my ultramarine blue and very carefully just line it. I added a little bit of white to it. Just kind of do like that. I didn't end up using my black today. And put a little bit of a shadow on the underside of that. It might be a little bit dark there, but you can get a color that's similar, and that way you get a little bit of a line there. And I think I'm going to leave this dark because it's kind of looking like it's already shadowed right there, so I don't mind that at all. Let's grab my smaller round. We'll put a little bit of texture on the barn. I'm going to grab my Pyrrole crimson here. Let's mix in some of this orangey color to it. So, whoops, you can't see it. What I'm doing here. I've just mixed some of this color that I had. And I'm going to, whoops, don't want to get it on the roof. Do not do that. It's not light enough. Let's add a little bit of the Unbleached Titanium. See if we can get kind of a light. There we go. We'll just do kind of light highlights. Grab a little bit more of the Pyrrole red and do some of that, nice and bright, straight Pyrrole. I'm just doing lines. And I'm going to leave that little mark there so that I can see where the barn ends. Let's put a couple little windows in. They were kind of just a little suggestion. They weren't really like full windows. It was almost like they're boarded up or something. Grab a little bit of white and do a couple of little rectangles and just make sure that these lines match up vertically and horizontally. That'll make it look a little bit more real. This is our little kind of off-kilter barn. He doesn't have to be perfect. Get some more white and clean up that line edge right there so it's nice and bright. Doing okay? All right, it's looking pretty decent. Yeah, I feel like it needed something over here. Oh well. I'm not exactly sure what to do at this point because I don't want to take too much time.
I don't have any suggestions,
No suggestions?
that are really beneficial.
Okay.
No.
All right, well, we'll do the burnt umber trees, and hopefully that'll cover over some of it. Maybe I'll make them have some low branches here, and that'll help. Because they're starting out about right here. And one there and one here. They're pretty close together. This one kind of angles off this way a little bit. Vertically, but he's kind of wandering off this direction. When you're doing trees, you want to make sure that you do the base what's the word I'm looking for? Horizontal, thank you. And then as they get up higher, they get narrower. So thicker at the base, and then as they get up high, you can thin them out a little bit. And I'm using my small number 2 round, I think it is. Yep. We'll just do like that. That way it looks like it's kind of gonna go over the top of our barn just a little bit right here. And that'll fill in some of this dead space that we got going on. These trees go all the way up off the canvas at the top there. But I think I might just end them just slightly before the top on this one. Have some of these branches go off this way. Sorry, I'm just looking at it, trying to visualize where I want to put my branches here. I have some of them crossing over.
Yeah, some people in the chat have suggested either
I'm going to use black here. What?
tree stumps or fence posts.
Oh, fence
like
posts
that
would be good.
Could
Yeah.
fill in too.
Okay. Well, shoot, I should have done that before I start putting my trees in. Yeah, actually in the picture there's like a, well, let me do that. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'll just go ahead and put like a small bush right here. with that, some of that green. And then put a little bit of the white on top. It's probably not bright enough.
They also suggested an icy pond.
Actually, I think that the picture is taken on a pond.
It looks like that.
I think it's a dock. I think this is a dock right here, going out right there over the water, and this is water here. So yeah, we could put, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do it today because it's getting late.
But these are all interesting suggestions that people can do on their own painting. You know, they can make it their own and put whatever they want. They could put a fox wearing glasses.
They could put the fox right in here.
Yeah, see?
Cute. I might, well, all right. I'm just going to keep on going here. I'm thinking. Think. Yeah, we could do a fence post kind of coming off this way. Let's try that. We'll do some, and these are old, so they don't have to be straight or perfect like. Maybe like that, and maybe another one over here. And we'll definitely put some snow on these too. I like that idea. That was cute. And don't they sometimes have like cross pieces? I'll put one like that. Another one like that. Like they're kind of, you know, homemade. It's not. Sometimes they do like X's, right?
Yeah.
Is that good? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along here. I don't have a picture, so this is dangerous. Does that look silly? I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. Let me take that part off.
Get the eraser out. I think sometimes there's a single, you know, like a X from top to bottom for bob wire and stuff like that. But you can just do a normal.
What are you talking about? Just two pieces across?
Yeah,
just one here and one here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You can tell we're not ranchers.
No, not at all. It's a blind leading to blind right here.
Yeah. We've seen them, but...
Well, I have seen them. I know. I just don't have a reference photo. This is what I don't like to do. I don't like to paint without a reference photo because it just never quite is exactly what you want it to be. So, but I think that looks all right. I don't know. This is kind of messed up right here. It got a little wet right there. Clean that up, and my paint's not wanting to work. There we go. Yeah, cute. All right, let's grab some white. We'll put some white along the one side there. It might stick the top side and one side here. Just barely touching down so that it's kind of catching a little bit on it.
Yeah, that looks good.
Looks all right? Okay. And this is behind these trees, so we're not going over the top of the trees. We're kind of going around them. We'll cover over any issues we have. There we go. And we're just going to put a little bit of white down at the base of each one of these so that there's like, they're seated in there. They're not floating. Okay. Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Better. I feel like our barn needs a little bit of work still too. Maybe a little bit more bright. A little bit of the burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Do some dark along this side. Just get a little bit more contrast there. Maybe a little bit underneath the eaves right here. So there's like a shadow right there. Okay, I'm getting really fussy. I need to stop. I'm sorry. All right, let's finish our tree and we will be done. So I've got the black and we'll add a few more branches to this. If you want to use a liner brush, you can. You can totally leave these trees out if you want to do another pine tree. If you loved the pine tree and you wanted to do that one, you could do another pine tree on this side. I think it would look really good. So, just whatever makes you happy. This is your painting. Paint your little happy trees like Bob would say. Kind of. I have chalk there, something. Oh, I think I drew my tree trunks on before I put them in. Okay, just a few more branches. And if you notice, I'm making Y shapes, so if you think, why am I doing this? Why are we here? These trees grow with these Y intersections in their branches. So there's a Y, there's a Y, there's a Y. It just makes more sense. And some of these are actually kind of coming out low, so I'll do one kind of coming out low and sort of crisscrossing our barn a little bit, so it's, you never want your arm to be thicker than the trunk of your tree though, so this arm got a little thick, so I have to thicken up this whole area. Here, I'll thicken up the trunk and all the way down. I'm just going to go ahead and make it black since it's got the fence post there to compete with. It'll make it easier to see it against there. And we're going to add a little bit of white highlight to one side of it to make it a little bit more birch-like, like the trees in our photograph. And there is like some snow and stuff stuck to these branches, so I'm probably just going to stipple a little bit of white around them to sort of yeah, don't be afraid of overlapping your other elements. It actually adds depth when you do that in the painting. So going over the top of our barn a little bit really sets it back and makes it look like it's farther away from us. All right, I think we're about ready to add some snow to these. We'll add, I'm going to grab my flat bright here. This is a 1/4 inch, I think. And I'm going to add white to my birch tree. Just tapping it lightly. I've got a little bit of paint on my brush, but I'm kind of laying it on fairly thick on the trunk there because I want it to catch and make some bark shapes. Let me zoom in just a little bit. So these are, the branches on the birch tree are pretty much black, so I'm not going to really do it on the branches, but I'm just going to add a little bit of white on one side of these. I'm trying not to go all the way to the edge because I don't want it to disappear against the background. So I just did a birch tree fall one too, so if you want to see what this would look like in the fall, you can check that out. That was yellow leaves and looking from below up into the tree. All right, let me grab some of that off-white and a little tiny bit of brown. Maybe actually let's get some of that blue. We'll add blue to this side. And we'll do the same thing, let's just get the blue. I feel like it's covering too much of it, so we can tap back in some of the brown. Okay. Grab some of that black and just tap a little bit of the black over. Just using that corner of my brush really at this point. I'm just going to tap in a few random marks in my tree trunk. That's looking a little more birch-like, maybe. I don't know. Grab my stippler. Actually, I think, yeah, I'll grab the stippler. Could do this with the fan brush too. Actually, let's try it with the fan brush and see what it looks like. Since these are branches and I want to keep the paint looking like it's sort of going in a straight line. Let's grab this white here. I have just a little bit left. And we'll tap in. Yeah, that's looking good. Tap in little snow along our branch areas. Cute. Grab a little bit more white. We could have even gone a little bit darker with our background colors because then this would show up a little bit better. And doing it this way kind of also make it look like maybe there's some branches in here that we didn't draw in or paint in, so don't feel like you have to go right on your branches. You can kind of go around them sort of in that general area. I'm kind of doing some sort of horizontal-ish ones. Yeah, that looks good, like that. I love it when an idea works out. Sometimes you just got to try things. This has definitely been a exploratory type painting. It's not, this is what I would be doing if I had done this beforehand for you, you know, before the live show. This is usually kind of how I work and just work out you know, I have ideas and I just kind of, you know, think, okay, well, I want to simplify it, and I want to use these colors, I think, and I think I might need these brushes, but you know, when you get in the middle of it, sometimes you change things up or you take parts out that didn't work. And that's just kind of all about trying to figure this stuff out. So I hope this has been interesting for y'all to see kind of the little bit of my thought processes when I paint. Not frustrating because I didn't go in like straight tutorial style. A little bit more haphazard than I normally try to do. But okay, yeah, that's kind of looking icy, I think. Let me zoom out and see what we got here. Not bad. I definitely like the fence, so whoever suggested that, thank you. That was a good addition. Very good addition. All right.
Stickman.
Stickman. Oh, Stickman. All right. We'll do Stickman really quick. He needs a fence post, maybe. Let's do fence around him.
Sounds good.
Since he's got a birch tree already over here, we'll put a fence along here in front of our pumpkin. Okay, there we go. Stickman is our unofficial mascot. We add something to him every time we do a painting. He got angel wings last on Saturday when we did our angel painting. So that was a lot of fun. And he gets something themed. He's got antlers and the unicorn horn now. Pretty much out of room for anything new, but we're still adding things till we're full.
Well, next Monday.
That's true.
I'll be doing a live drawing of the new Stickman.
That's right.
Or Stickwoman.
True, could be a woman.
So yeah. You have to tune into Angela's Facebook page.
Oh yeah, Monday Live, next Monday Live on my Facebook
Yep.
page. Yep. I think I'm going to add a little bit of green right in here. Felt like it needed some. Yep, definitely. All right. Maybe not. Well, if I was doing this, I'd probably add some more bushes here, but I'm not going to do it right now because that's too late. It's too late. There's the song. All right. I think it looks pretty decent. I like how it turned out. So thanks, guys, for watching along with us tonight. So an hour and a half. Darn it, we got to go #feed Mark. We'll get out of here, and we will see you on Saturday. We're going to be doing some really fun ornaments using these little wood pieces. You've probably seen them around. If you don't have these, you can just use little mini canvases, but we're doing viewer's choice paintings, a moose, a nativity scene, a truck with a tree in the back, and a gingerbread house. So we'll be doing that on each one of these. They'll be really simple, and I think that should be a lot of fun. So be sure, if you're ready to put up your Christmas tree, be sure to check us out on Saturday, and we'll be painting a few ornaments. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Really appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Bye.